Every year, over 285,000 motorcyclists are injured on the road. And that's just in the US. Most of them were wearing full gear and still ended up in the hospital. Now imagine this. I once slid 30 feet across asphalt at 45 miles per hour in full armor. You'd think I walked away untouched? But you are wrong. I had broken rib, fractured collarbone, and the so-called impact pads. Barely a scratch on them. That moment shattered everything I thought I knew about motorcycle body armor. In this video, I'm going to tell you why I stopped wearing it, what I wear now, and the truth behind the gear we've been blindly trusting for years. Let's begin with, why do we trust it blindly? Let's be honest, when most of us start riding, we treat body armor like a magical force field. I mean, it looks tough, it feels tough, and when you put it on, you instantly feel like a mix between Batman and a MotoGP champion. You tap your elbow pads like you're suiting up for battle, and your brain goes, yep, now I'm invincible. But here's where things get tricky. Just because it feels safe doesn't mean it actually is, and that's the trap. We trust it blindly because it's sold as safety, wrapped in foam, plastic, and a lot of marketing. No one ever questions it. I didn't for years. I'd gear up like Iron Man, thinking I was protected from everything short of a meteor strike. But spoiler alert, Armour doesn't stop a distracted driver in a minivan who's texting through a red light. Because once you ask the question, what am I actually trusting this gear to do? Everything starts to unravel. What the research really says? Alright, so once that little voice in my head whispered, "Are you sure this armor is actually helping?" I did what any responsible adult would do. I Googled it at 2 a.m. while eating cereal out of a coffee mug. And what I found? Let's just say, it wasn't exactly comforting. Multiple studies, from 2011, 2017, 2018, all the way up to 2019, basically said the same thing. Yes, armor can reduce scrapes and bruises, but when it comes to fractures, dislocations, or actual life-saving protection, the benefit is minimal, or even non-existent. One study straight up said there was no significant difference in injury between people wearing armor and those who weren't. And that's when it hit me. If science isn't backing up what we're sold, why is this stuff still the standard? I mean, imagine buying a parachute, and the fine print says, may or may not work during a fall. Would you still jump? And yet, we wear this stuff assuming it's our last line of defense. But it's not. In fact, the next thing I found made me question if it was ever really about safety at all. CE certification, truth, protection, or protectionism. I always assumed that CE certification meant my gear was tested to the highest standard, like crash tested, lab approved, life-saving stuff. But when I looked deeper, I found out CE doesn't necessarily stand for crash evidence. It might as well mean clever economics. Turns out CE standards were originally pushed not by safety experts, but by manufacturers, European gear makers trying to protect themselves from being undercut by cheaper imports. So, what did they do? They helped create a system where only gear that passed their version of a test could be sold. Sounds good, right? Until you realize many of those tests weren't designed around real-world crashes, but around lab conditions that barely reflect actual road accidents. And once the standard was in place, it became a wall. Not just a quality control gate, but a business barrier. It kept smaller, cheaper competitors out, while giving riders like us a false sense of security. So the question is, was the standard about saving lives, or saving markets? And once I saw that, I couldn't unsee it. But that wasn't the only problem. Now talk. Armor's biggest flaw? The moment you zip up your armored jacket, strap on your knee pads, and look in the mirror like some Mad Max warrior. Something shifts in your brain. You feel tougher, safer, like you could bounce off a car hood and walk away dusting off your gloves. That's the psychological trap. See, armor doesn't just protect your body, it tricks your mind. And the more armored up you feel, the more chances you take without even realizing it. I've seen it firsthand. Riders weaving through traffic like they're in a video game, thinking foam and plastic will somehow rewrite physics. I've even caught myself doing it, riding more aggressively, braking later, cornering harder, because I thought I was covered. But guess what? No pad protects you from a bad decision at 60 miles per hour. That false confidence might actually be more dangerous than not wearing armor at all. Because if gear makes you ride like you're invincible, you're just dressing up recklessness in safety gear. And that realization hit harder than any crash ever could.
So, what does work? Alright, so if standard armor isn't the golden ticket to safety, what actually does work? It starts with understanding that real protection isn't just about what you wear, it's about how you ride. But let's talk gear first. There are options out there that go beyond the bare minimum, like race-grade back protectors and airbag vests. These aren't just foam inserts, they're engineered to absorb real impact and protect vital zones far more effectively. I wear one of those airbag vests on longer rides. It's pricey, yeah, but it's one of the few things I trust to actually make a difference. That said, gear is just one piece. The real MVP, situational awareness, smart riding decisions, and leaving your ego at home. Keeping a safe following distance, reading traffic, avoiding blind spots. That stuff saves lives. And guess what? It's free. So before you spend hundreds on pads that might soften a fall, invest in the habits that help you avoid the fall altogether.
Why I stopped wearing body armor. So, after all the digging, testing, crashing, and thinking, I made a decision. I stopped wearing standard motorcycle body armor. Not because I wanted to be a rebel, not because I'm trying to prove a point, but because I finally understood what it was actually doing. And what it wasn't. The foam pads in my jacket weren't saving me from serious crashes. They were just making me feel like I was invincible. And worse, they were restricting my movement, making me sweat like crazy in warm weather, and honestly, making me a little overconfident. But I didn't just go bare. Now I wear gear that makes sense for me. On casual city rides, I'll wear abrasion-resistant jeans, lightweight gloves, and a CE-rated helmet. For longer rides or higher risk routes, I bring out the big stuff. A tethered airbag vest, sometimes a standalone back protector, and gear that fits properly, not just whatever looks like RoboCop. My choices are based on realistic risk, comfort, and the kind of riding I'm doing. No more wearing armor just to tick a box or impress someone online. And that brings me to this. This isn't me standing on a digital soapbox yelling, "Ditch your armor," from the rooftops. No, this is just my experience. How I came to understand what works for me, and why I stopped wearing motorcycle body armor in the way I used to. Because riding is personal. It's not one size fits all, and neither is safety. I'm not here to tell you what to wear or how to ride. I'm here to share what I've learned so you can make better decisions for yourself. If full armor makes you feel safe and confident, wear it. If you're questioning it like I did, ask those questions. Dig, research, think critically. Your gear should be a tool, not a crutch, and definitely not a costume you wear out of fear or peer pressure.